and welcome to my Financial Management Tuition course. I'm Jo Tuffle and I'm really looking forward to working with you. I'm going to explain what financial management is all about, how it is examined, and introduce you to my tuition course. My tuition course is jam-packed full of content. There's a clear roadmap to get you to revision. It's all about a partnership between you and me. So what is financial management all about? Well, its aim is to develop the knowledge and skills expected of a financial manager in relation to investment, financing and dividend decisions within a company. Now, this builds on the knowledge gained through studying management accounting, and it also prepares candidates for further study of financial management in advanced financial management. We are not looking at performance management in this paper. We're looking at the management of the assets, the resources of the business, how they're financed, and how that brings wealth to shareholders. Now we come to the syllabus areas. The first two sections of the syllabus consider the role and the purpose of a finance manager and the financial management environment. These are syllabus areas A and B. Financial management decisions support the achievement of business objectives. The syllabus explores the link between objectives, strategy, and stakeholders. Financial management decisions are influenced by factors external to the organisation. So the syllabus also considers the impact of government economic policy in key areas such as interest rates and exchange rates, as well as the nature and the role of financial markets and institutions. The next three sections of the syllabus look at working capital management, investment appraisal, and business finance. These are syllabus areas C, D, and E. Managing working capital is a key concern of the financial manager, who must balance the conflicting objectives of profitability and liquidity. We will investigate this a little further throughout the syllabus. Investment decisions constitute one of the three decision areas of financial management, and the finance manager must be able to identify relevant cash flows and evaluate a proposed investment and its effect on the organisation. Financing decisions, another of the three decision areas of financial management, are considered in business finance section of the syllabus. This is section E. A finance manager must be able to identify and evaluate the most appropriate sources of finance to meet the organisation's financial needs. One of the key relationships in financial management is that risk and return. This is imperative. In this section of the syllabus also looks at the cost of capital and the influence of capital structure on the average cost of capital. The next section of the syllabus is business valuations. This is section F. Candidates must be able to value both financial assets, such as shares and bonds, and the business as a whole. Evaluation of financial choices is a key theme here, and candidates are expected to be able to discuss as well as apply a range of valuation methods. The final part of the syllabus, G, looks at risk management in relation to foreign currency risk and interest rate risk. You should have an awareness of the different types of foreign currency and interest rate risk and the possible reasons why they arise. You'll need to be able to evaluate and apply both internal and external risk management hedging methods using the methods identified in the syllabus. So those are the main parts of the syllabus, A to F. We're now going to have a look at the exam and its structure. So here is the structure of the exam. It's a computer-based exam and it will be 3 hours. And you will get a formula sheet. There's quite a lot of formulas on the FM formula sheet, and throughout the course I will be referring to that formula sheet and showing you how to use those formulas. There's also some discounting tables, which hopefully you remember from earlier studies. So the exam is in 3 parts: 30 marks, 30 marks and 40 marks. There's 60 marks going for objective test questions, and there's 40 marks going for constructed response questions. Section A comprises 15 objective test questions, each worth 2 marks, be either narrative or calculative in nature, and there will be a mix of questions. Now, the nature of objective test questions mean that some will take longer to answer than others. So it won't be 3.6 minutes per OT. What you need to do is to allocate time to this section as a whole, rather than trying to allocate time to each individual question. It's important to remember that you do not spend too much time on some questions that are only worth 2 marks. You need to make sure you gain as many marks as you can through doing the easier questions first. Section A will include questions from the whole syllabus. So it's important that you do cover the whole syllabus when preparing for this exam. Next comes Section B, and this also covers the whole syllabus. This contains 3 questions comprising 5 objective test items and 2 marks each, so then it's 10 marks. They will be based around a common scenario, so that's why I call them case OTs. And again, there will be a mix of calculative and narrative marks. Again, of the 5 questions, there might be easier questions and harder questions. So you must try and grab those easier marks rather than worrying too much about the hard ones and spending too much time on them. The third section is Section C, and there's 2 questions worth 20 marks each. These questions are likely to be broken down into several requirements, and they're going to focus on the syllabus areas C, D and E. That will be working capital, investment appraisal and business finance. Unlike sections A and B, which are auto-marked, these will be manually marked, and so it's vital that all workings are shown and assumptions are stated. It will be a mix of calculation and written, and you need to be very proficient at using the spreadsheet in the practice platform and the word processor, and there are definitely recommended formats to use to complete these questions and recommended ways of writing those discussion questions too. Let's have a look at the pitfalls for this financial management exam. It's thinking you can pass on the MCQs. 60% of the paper is MCQ. 40% of the paper is constructed response. You cannot pass just making sure you can do those MCQs, because you need to get 50 out of the 60 marks, which is 83%. Thinking that you can pass on the numbers. This exam is pretty much 50-50. So you have to be able to write, and you have to be able to understand theory and reason through the discursive questions too. Thinking you can question spot. The whole syllabus is tested in the MCQ sections. I know that 3 main syllabus areas come up in section C, but there's lots of variety in the types of questions they can ask, so you do need to practice the whole syllabus. Now you must use the practice platform. There's no need to use a specific format, but clearly there are recommended formats. You need to label your workings so that the marker can understand what the figure is for. Markers can see the formulas in the spreadsheet, so you can use the spreadsheet functionality to create your answer. You don't need to write out the exact process in full words of what you're doing. The marker can see your process as long as you label your workings and you link your cells. There is an own figure rule in this exam, so if you make a mistake at the start of your calculation, as long as it's clear and they can follow through that, you will still get the marks. You should be able to copy and paste from the scenario to bring your written answers to life. It's important to relate them to the scenario, So use that copy and paste functionality. It's also good to copy and paste the requirement into the word processor area, because the requirement sometimes needs to be split and it makes sure that you answer both parts. Use headings for written sections. It separates your points and therefore the marker can allocate the marks of that question clearly to those points. Do not write in block paragraph. It's really hard for markers to separate the points therefore. Also, you need to start thinking about learning theory and techniques and not answers. Relying on looking at the answers every time when you do a question is not helpful. It's best to learn the formulas and the process. It's like a recipe. Write it out as a process, and then you can use that process to answer questions. You need to be able to explain concepts and apply those concepts, not rewrite the answer to a previous question, which might be slightly worded in a different way. For instance, pros and cons also can be learnt, but they need to be applied. They may ask for just the pros and not the cons, and if you are following a previous question, you may waste time. Definitions are important, so learn the definitions and then use an example to bring that definition to life. Written questions are really important. Do not use bullet points, use full sentences. Look at the verb being used in the requirement. Identify or briefly describe, then short sentences. No bullet points, short sentences. Explain and discuss, then more detail will be required. You need to think 2 sentences for 1 mark, but if 1 sentence states and explains, that would suffice. Ensure that if your answer is expected to relate to the business scenario, then your points should reflect that. This exam is about application. Points need to be fully explained. Always think because and why. Always. This is an example. Critically discuss the usefulness of internal rate of return as an investment appraisal method. Hopefully you remember internal rate of return from earlier studies. It's the return on a project. It's easy to understand by managers. That's the answer. But that won't score any marks because you don't explain why it's easy to understand by managers. I want to know, why is it an advantage? Explain it to me, who hasn't done financial management before. As they are familiar with relative measures such as percentages, for example, inflation rates and interest rates. That is the why. So hopefully you can see, yes, it is easy, but you need to explain why. Now let's look at the tuition course. This is the key to passing. There's a guided work plan where you're going to complete 2 to 3 sessions a week, depending on whether you're going short or long. Videos supported by bespoke course notes. Exam standard examples are used throughout. You've got an online textbook to complete the test your understandings, and the answers will be at the back of the chapter. And you've got online quizzes which will be automatically marked with feedback. Homework questions to submit for marking by me, and you do that through the portal, and I will mark and give valuable feedback on how you can improve. This is an important part of your learning. Please take advantage of it. And then there'll be an end of tuition mock to complete to ensure that you're ready to go on to revision. So here is the study site. We're just going to go onto the study site now and show you how to use it. Welcome to the study site. Here is your tuition course. It's all laid out in sessions, as you can see. I've got an introduction on your work plan. I've got how to access the CAPLAN text, and then the CBE platform, getting started. That's very important. So you can understand how you're supposed to use that platform and assign yourself those specimen exams and those practice exams so you can understand how the exam works. Please ask me questions about that if you need more help. Let's have a look in one of the sessions. So each session has a video. It has some lecture notes, blank and annotated, to use in conjunction with the video. There's a technical article which relates to that part of the syllabus, and then there's a quiz. The quiz is very easy. You click on it and you can see it's all online. Once you've attempted the quiz, you can finish it, submit all the questions. I'm going to get them all wrong, and then you'll get feedback. Now, some of the sessions have a homework. So you click on the assignment, you download it, and then you add submission through this portal. You need to complete it in spreadsheet and Word, so I can see any formulas that you're doing. Once you've submitted it, I will mark it and feedback through this portal. You'll get an email. Once you've done an activity, it's really important you say mark as done. Then I know how you're progressing through the course. If you have any questions on the study site, please just ask. The next key to passing is support. You'll get an introductory meet-up with me so we can go through a personal plan. You will have access 7 days a week to me, not when I'm asleep. You'll be put on a group WhatsApp so that you can buddy up with friends and receive announcements for the whole cohort. Questions personal to me can come on WhatsApp, and I'm going to have Zoom meetups in live Q&As throughout the course. These will be weekly. No question is a silly question. The final key to passing is you. It's important you take responsibility for your own learning. You must balance your work, rest and play and plan it all in. Use the work plan and adapt it to suit your learning needs and schedule. I can work with you on that. Get yourself familiar with the CBE software. ACCA article reading is essential. They're there for a reason. But above all, stay in contact with me. Happy learning!